What if I told you that the biggest surprise for the Boston Celtics this season isn't Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or any of the veteran players? What if Brad Stevens' riskiest move, a decision many people criticized, is finally starting to pay off? Baylor Scheierman, one of the oldest rookies in the NBA, just silenced the skeptics with a stunning performance against the Brooklyn Nets. But the real question is, was this game just a lucky break or a glimpse into the future? Let's dive into this story and understand what's behind the Celtics' bold decision. Why did Brad Stevens draft a veteran? When Brad Stevens finally decided to use a first-round pick, many expected a young prospect full of raw energy and potential, waiting to be developed. But he went in the opposite direction. Instead of choosing a long-term project, he selected Baylor Scheierman, a 24-year-old wing and a seasoned college basketball veteran. For many, this was a surprise, and even a disappointment. After all, why spend such a valuable pick on a player who is much closer to his peak than other prospects? What few realized, however, is that this decision was highly strategic. The Celtics are financially committed up to their necks, with massive contracts for their stars and an increasingly tight salary cap. What does this mean? That developing players who are ready to contribute immediately, without years of patience and development, has become essential. And Stevens knows this better than anyone. The problem is that this strategy comes with a price. Scheierman arrived in the NBA without the glamour of a top prospect, with no room for error, and under immense pressure to deliver right away. And the start wasn't promising. Was Baylor destined to fail? Scheierman's transition to the NBA was rough. His first few months in the league were marked by underwhelming performances and disastrous shooting efficiency. In the Summer League, he looked out of sync. In the first 18 games of the regular season, he shot just 27% from three, his main offensive weapon. To make matters worse, his playing time was limited, and when he did get minutes, he rarely made an impact. At that point, many had already labeled him a bust. Criticism came from all sides. Why waste a first-round pick on a player who can't even stay in the rotation? They asked. Harsh comparisons emerged, highlighting other young talents who were thriving while Scheierman struggled to find his place. But basketball has an unforgiving logic. Opportunities arise, and those who are ready can change their careers in a single game. That's exactly what happened with Baylor Scheierman. In the G League, he began to regain his confidence. His shots started falling, his off-ball movement became more fluid, and little by little he started resembling the player who had impressed in college. Then came his big break against the Nets. With Tatum and Brown unavailable, he was called upon to step up. The result? 20 points in just 16 minutes, with an unreal shooting performance from beyond the arc. Suddenly, the player who seemed like a disappointment was now seen as a potential hidden gem. But does this single performance really mean something for the Celtics' future? Does this change the Celtics' plans? For now, the franchise's official stance is no. The Celtics don't need Scheierman for this year's playoffs, at least not under normal circumstances. If Tatum, Brown, and the key players remain healthy, he will continue to be a secondary player, getting minutes only in less critical games. But basketball isn't just about the short term. What truly matters here is Brad Stevens' long-term vision. The Celtics have one of the most expensive rosters in the NBA and are on track to pay one of the highest luxury tax bills in league history. That means, inevitably, roster cuts and trades will have to happen. And this is where Scheierman's importance comes in. If he continues to develop, he could become a valuable piece in the rotation, helping fill potential gaps without straining the salary cap. In other words, his presence isn't about the present, it's about the future of the Celtics. Now the big question is, did Stevens see this from the start, or did he just get lucky? Was this a calculated decision, or a fortunate gamble that happened to work out? If Scheierman keeps improving and becomes a reliable rotation player, Stevens can claim he saw something no one else did. But if he fails to maintain this level, the pick will be remembered as a scouting mistake. What do you think? Can Scheierman become a key piece for the Celtics' future, or was this just a fleeting moment of success? Do the Boston Celtics really need Kristaps Porzingis to win the championship, or are we looking at a team that can dominate even without him? That's the big question that needs to be answered. After missing several games due to illness, the Latvian returned at a high level, immediately showcasing his impact. But now, a dilemma arises. How much should the Celtics push Porzingis before the playoffs? Is the team willing to risk its most physically fragile piece to ensure perfect chemistry before the crucial stage, or would it be smarter to preserve him, betting that he'll be ready at the right moment? The answer might not be as obvious as it seems. The Celtics sit comfortably atop the Eastern Conference, raising an important question. What's the rush to fully reintegrate Porzingis into the rotation? The team has already proven it can win without him, relying on its depth and the strength of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. At the same time, there's a strong argument that his presence elevates Boston to another level. Against the Brooklyn Nets, Porzingis was dominant. 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks. But his impact goes far beyond the stats. He completely changes the way the team plays, providing floor spacing that allows other players to attack more efficiently. He protects the paint, intimidates opponents, and adds a rare offensive versatility for a player of his size. That leads to the inevitable question. If he's so essential, should the Celtics maximize his usage now or save him for the playoffs? Porzingis' injury history is no small detail. Quite the opposite. He already missed a month this season and has been plagued by durability issues throughout his career. Is it worth taking that risk? He himself has said he wants to play to build rhythm, but players always want to play. The real question is whether the coaching staff should give in to that desire. Game rhythm is important, but not at the expense of his health. What if he gets hurt again and enters the playoffs far from peak condition? The NBA has seen this scenario before. Teams that pushed their stars for the sake of chemistry or regular season wins and paid the price in the postseason. In 2019, Kevin Durant returned from injury during the finals, tore his Achilles, and missed an entire year. In 2021, Anthony Davis insisted on playing hurt for the Lakers, and the team collapsed in the playoffs. Are the Celtics running the same risk with Porzingis? The situation becomes even more complicated with the upcoming schedule. The team is about to embark on its longest road trip of the season, 6 straight games against Western Conference teams, including tough matchups against the Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns. That means a massive physical and mental challenge. Porzingis has made it clear he wants to win every game, but the real question is, do the Celtics need to push him? With Tatum and Brown getting strategic rest in some matchups, the pressure on the Latvian could increase. Is he ready to carry that burden? Or should Boston learn from past mistakes and play the long game? The answer to these questions could define the Celtics' fate this season. Betting on Porzingis' strength might be the key to a championship, but if he breaks down before they get there, the dream could fall apart. So, what's more important, winning now or ensuring the team is fully healthy when it truly matters? What if I told you that a rookie almost forgotten by the Boston Celtics might have just completely changed the course of the season? Sounds like an exaggeration? Well, that's exactly what happened. Baylor Scheierman, the 30th pick in the last draft, spent months on the bench and in the G League, until suddenly, when the team needed him the most, he exploded with an unbelievable performance. What does this mean for the Celtics? How could this game impact the team's plans? And more importantly, does he deserve more minutes in the rotation? Today, we're breaking down every detail of this story. Stay tuned. Let's be honest. When the Celtics selected Baylor Scheierman with the last pick of the first round, not many people expected much from him. He came from Creighton, a school not exactly known for producing NBA stars, and spent most of the season in the G League. But those who followed his journey closely knew one thing: he can shoot. With the Maine Celtics, he hit 41% of his three-pointers, averaging 20 points per game. The problem? In the few minutes he got in the NBA, he couldn't make a shot. He went 5 for 25 from beyond the arc. Terrible. But then came the game against the Brooklyn Nets, and everything changed. With Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown out, the Celtics needed someone to step up, and Baylor Scheierman delivered in the best way possible. 20 points, 6 for 7 from 3, a buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter, and a crucial contribution to the win. That shot at the buzzer changed the entire energy of the game. The TD Garden erupted, and from that moment on, he hit 3 more three-pointers in the fourth quarter. Seriously, when was the last time we saw a rookie do something like that in a Celtics jersey? And it wasn't just about offense. Even Joe Mazzulla praised Scheierman's defense, saying he has toughness and a high basketball IQ. In other words, this wasn't just a case of a guy getting hot on a random night. The Celtics might have something special here, but now comes the big question. Baylor Scheierman has shown he can truly contribute to the Celtics, but does that mean he should earn a permanent spot in the rotation? Here's where the debate begins. If he keeps shooting like this, how can the Celtics justify keeping him off the floor? Sam Hauser already has a role as a three-point specialist, but what if Scheierman is even better? On the other hand, we know how hard it is for rookies to stay consistent. How many players have had a magical night and then disappeared completely? And more importantly, on a team chasing a championship, can you really trust a rookie in the playoffs? This decision is going to be crucial for the Celtics. If Scheierman keeps playing well, he could become that unexpected role player that every championship team needs. But if he cools down, he'll likely go back to the bench. The next stretch of games will be decisive in figuring that out. Baylor Scheierman has proven he can be an important piece for the Celtics. But the big question is he ready to be a reliable weapon in the rotation, or was this just a one-night wonder? If you were Joe Mazzulla, what would you do? Keep giving him minutes or stick to the current system?